On this episode of Left Off the Map, we're looking at gin and the east coast of Tasmania, so the Freycinet Peninsula, Freycinet area. So later on, Olivia Wells and Henry Terry are going to go into that little space, the national park around Freycinet, and they're also going to do a gin tasting on the deck of a wonderful accommodation down there. So before we go and do that, I thought I would do a little gin recipe. This is a recipe out of my Mexican book, and the gin is going to go perfectly with the pineapples. The first thing I want to do is make my cake mix. It's a pineapple upside down cake. So, normal process of making a cake, a batter. So we've got 125 grams of butter, a cup of sugar, and we're just going to cream that. And then I'll add the eggs one at a time. And I'm going to use, probably only need 2 eggs for this one. The thing I like about it all sort of happens in one fry pan, and so a lot less cleanup and just a really simple cake but really tasty. My eggs, butter and sugar are done. Now I need to add a little bit of self-raising flour. This is a very, very, very basic cake batter. Take that off now because I want to mix everything through by hand. About 1.25 cups of flour. And some milk. 1/2 cup of milk. Okay. So you want your mixture for this to be almost like a hot cake mixture. So halfway between crepe or pancake and normal cake mixture, which is what I've got it at now. So I'll give you a look. You sort of want that consistency. So a little bit wetter than a normal cake. Right, so that's done. Our cake mixture's done. Now I can put together the pineapple component of the dish. So I need a fry pan. In my fry pan, I want to make a caramel, brown sugar, 3/4 cup. I'm going to use a little bit of the pineapple juice to get that going. And I just want to bring that to a simmer. So I'm making a Cheats caramel. I'm just using brown sugar with a little bit of juice from the pineapples. Once that comes to the boil, that'll be our caramel. And then I'm going to add my pineapple pieces and some cayenne pepper. Pineapple and chili is an awesome combination. The sweetness of the pineapple really balances out the heat of the chili, so it makes it a lot more palatable. So as soon as we've got this to a bubble, my pineapple will go in, my chili will go in, and then it's a matter of bringing everything together. I'm going to keep cooking my pineapples a little bit, just until everything's nicely coated, it starts to get sticky. Then I'll take it off the heat, add my cake batter on top of the pineapples, and put it into the oven at 180 degrees, which we're already set up. So we're almost there. So the bubbles are starting to form. Okay, so once I've got bubbles formed everywhere, I can add in my pineapple and the remainder of the juice. Now I just want to cook that down until the liquid has halved. Once that liquid's halved, then I can turn the heat off, add my cake batter and pop it into the oven. Now, It's going to be in the oven for only about 25 to 30 minutes because it's going to be a small amount of cake batter on top that needs to cook. It won't take the normal time that a cake does. It's more of a hot cake than a cake. So I add my cayenne. Start with half a teaspoon and we'll taste and see whether or not we need to add any more. Chili, pineapple and caramel. Great combination. Oh, yum. A little bit more for me. Just that little tickle at the back of the throat, which is what you want. But it's tamed so much. So once that's reduced by half, we'll go on to our next step. About halfway through that process, I added my gin, so about 60 mils of gin. Turn that pan off. Now I can add my batter. Evenly around our pan. Just need everything to be sort of coated so there's no holes at the top. Now that's probably pushing it. That is going to rise. We've got self-raising flour in there. So it's going to rise a little bit, so that's probably going to rise over the top. So just to protect myself from what I'm pretty sure is going to happen, I'm going to pop that on there and then pop it in the oven. So into my oven at 180. And remember I said about 25 to 30 minutes, probably 25 if your oven's preheated, then it will come out, be ready to serve in the fry pan that it's in. So again, it's another one of those great, put in the middle of a table, everyone knows it. You can, if you want, you can let it cool, you'll be able to cut portions out of it, but I reckon just go for it. So now we're going to head off to see Henry and Olivia as they explore the east coast of Tasmania and have a gin tasting on a deck.
G'day Lee, how you going?
Hi.
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very well.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Lee, what are we doing today?
Yeah, so we're just going to show you through some of our premium Tasmanian whiskies and gins.
I'd love an education on the whiskey because I don't know very much about it at all.
No worries, I'll guide you through the four. We might as well start with the gin then.
Sounds good.
So obviously Tasmanian distilleries, they're popping up everywhere at the moment, and gin's kind of a new trend that's coming through. Okay, so we're going to start with probably my favourite, which is the Sheepsway gin, Hartshorn Distillery.
Awesome.
Garnished with a bit of lemon. So this one's kind of lots of floral through that one, almost perfume coming out.
Very smart.
Oh yeah, the lemon really brings it out, doesn't it?
Taste it straight, just so you're getting an idea, because obviously we're going to be sampling a few more. And then feel free to add ice and tonic as you please. The next one, we're moving on to a Spring Bay gin. So Spring Bay Distillery is just a little bit further down the east coast.
Oh yeah, that is really nice.
They're getting nicer as you have more and more.
Still appreciating them though, they're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And the last one, if you're ready for it, will take your breath away, I find. So it's a slightly sweeter style of gin. This one can just be enjoyed on a summer day over ice. It's a McHenry's Slow Gin.
Ah, heard of this, very famous.
Yeah, these guys advertise themselves as our southernmost distillery in the world.
Oh. I feel like this would be like a good winter warmer. It's sort of like star anise and...
Yeah, that's exactly what you want after a dip in this water.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so. Ooh, that's my favourite.
Yeah, we find
That's
a lot of people,
delicious.
we try to encourage them to drink the other 4 first and then finish on a high with the...
Oh no! Don't even
Don't
ruin it.
even,
That's
wow.
just
Don't
good.
even.
That is such an amazing flavour. Wowee! Could we have a look at the whiskey?
More than
You re-
welcome.
you
I'm
be able to
ready, but
handle
I
that?
know nothing about whiskey,
Well,
so
neither do I.
you're going to have to give us a bit of an education here.
Yes, please.
Okay, so again, same with gins. Tasmania have quite a range of whiskey distilleries. We'll start with the Belgrove Rye whiskey, which is produced through or around Old Kempton area. This is one of the only distilleries in Australia that does pretty much everything on site, from their own grain, malt, barley, distilling,
Really?
aging in their barrels. So it's a small run business. And I guess it'll come through once you taste the whiskey, how much kind of love and care that they're putting into it.
So where should we start?
We'll definitely start from the handle in here in number 1 with the Belgrove Rye whiskey.
Okay.
So we're going to smell first, and that's just going to be the alcohol coming through. So then we're going to smell another 2 or 3 times, bringing it across the nose. And you're going to really kind of get maybe butterscotch tones. This one's, the tasting notes seem kind of Christmassy.
See, I would have thought this, like, going past twice or 3 times, I thought that'd be a load of fluff, but that's amazing. Alcohol
actually,
first,
yeah.
and then I can actually smell, like you said, the sort of buttery...
Someone from Scotland will say, before you taste it, you have to pour the whiskey into the glass, swirl it, throw that away, so there's nothing that's tainting the glass, and then you're ready for a tasting.
Really?
Oh, yeah, you do get different notes on that third try.
Amazing.
Yeah, have a taste. Now, we don't judge here as to how you mix your whiskies, but definitely please try to drink it neat first,
Okay.
and then you're your own master.
And what's our second one?
So our second one, we're going on to a Spring Bay port cask. Very young whiskey. The distillery, I'm not exactly sure when they opened up, but this one would be about 3 to 5 years old. So very young in comparison to what the other things that we're trying here.
And how can I expect that'll change how it tastes?
So it's not going to be as complex flavours coming through, but you'll find sitting in a port cask, you're going to get a slightly sweeter tones to it and sweeter taste as well.
Yeah, I can taste that sweetness. Got a bit of kick to it, though.
I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine did as well. It was serious punch. So what's next?
Number 3, we've got another port cask produced through Overeem. This one's our favourite behind the bar here at the lodge. Really smooth, easy drinking. Yeah, I think
Getting vanilla.
vanilla tones.
Yeah.
Yep. So aged for I think 10 to 12 years for the Overeem.
There's a lot going on. Well, we'll keep at it, Lee, but thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thanks so much for the explanation. I know I knew absolutely nothing about gin or whiskey, and this has been the most picturesque way to learn, that's for sure.
It's beautiful. Thanks very much.
Thanks
folks.
very much, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, the East Coast really is amazing scenery all year round and all round. And the gin they tried is absolutely delicious, and we're going to do another gin recipe right now. So what I've done is taken some rhubarb and some ginger. So I've got some candied ginger, this kind of ginger here. And rhubarb about the same size pieces, and I've steeped it in gin. So it's been sitting in that for a while now, so that the gin takes on the rhubarb flavour and the rhubarb takes on the gin flavour. So I'm going to pop that into a bowl. Now I don't want all of these ginger chunks. Hold on to them, and I'm going to cut them up a little bit so you don't get a big chunk of ginger in your pie. I'm not going to use all of the gin either. So I'm going to take all this steeped rhubarb out, and I'm going to hold on to the gin. I'll use a little bit of it. I'm going to hold on to it, and that gin will be awesome in a cocktail. We'll have that ginger and rhubarb flavour in it. Taking on a beautiful colour too. Oh, it smells awesome. Just going to add a little bit of gin to it. And I'll use that for a cocktail. Hold on to that. All right, so in with my rhubarb, I want some brown sugar. About half a cup. some vanilla, about a teaspoon, hazelnut meal, so that it doesn't get too wet and start to make our pastry soggy. Mix all that together. And some of my ginger. I'll take a piece of that that's been soaking, cut it into little thin slivers. If you're someone who does like big chunks of ginger, then you can just cut that into halves or quarters and go from there. All right, so that's our pie mixture, all done. Now it's time to make our pies. We're going to make hand pies. So to make our hand pies, we've got 2 sheets of pastry. You've got to use different size cutters. So I want them to be quite small, because that's what a hand pie is. It's nice and small. So about that size. I'm going to cut out, actually go about that size. Cut out our rounds. As many as you can. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 little pies out of that. We'll do 4 on this run. For our bigger, the top bits, this is the bit that's going to go over the top, so it needs to be a little bit bigger. We're going to use a bigger cutter. So a few sizes up. Four. And we're going to spoon our mixture into the middle of our pies. A little bit in there. You want to leave just enough room around the outside of your pie that you can crimp it together with a fork. Every time I say ham pie or hear ham pie, I think of Grease, the movie, the hand jive song. I don't know if anyone else at home thinks that, but that's what I think. All right, so you'll see why these need to be slightly bigger. Because they're going to fall over the top of the mixture we've got, they're going to need to be bigger to get down to where we need to get them to. It's almost like a raviolo. Alright, then grab yourself a fork. Just go around and push that pastry together. Don't worry about being too neat. The most important thing is you're creating a seal. I'll show you how we can fix up the neatness. Alright, so to fix up that edge, get yourself your cutters again. Find the right size. Cut it. And just peel that outside layer off. And it's a lot neater. Alright, I'll finish these last 2 off and then pop them into the oven. I'll take about probably 20 minutes, I reckon. And then out they will come. Now, the way I like to have them is allow them to cool. So don't try and eat them hot, because when you've got sugar in there, the temperature of sugar is going to get a lot higher than anything else. You're going to end up burning the top of your mouth, the roof of your mouth, I guarantee it. So allow them to cool, then eat them. Clean these 2 up. This one, and then into the oven for our last little ode to gin for the day. even though we do still have that beautifully flavoured gin left that I'll definitely use in a cocktail. All right, they can go into our oven. About 185 degrees for, like I said, about 20 minutes. Then allow them to cool. I know you want to eat them straight away, but allow them to cool. And you'll taste gin at a completely different level once it's been allowed to soak in to that ginger and that rhubarb, and then you've got this little beautiful concoction. Enjoy.